Good evening, Mr. Parker. How are you this evening?
I'm all right.
As you know, my name is Cynthia, and I'm the organizer for the campaign to End Life Without Parole for Massachusetts. I want you to know that we support your release wholeheartedly, as do I personally, and many of my colleagues. I would like you to elaborate on the joint venture theory and how you are serving life without parole, and how you can still remain there after all these years for a crime you did not commit. If you would be so kind as to elaborate, I'd appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for letting me elaborate. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there. My name is Harold Parker. I've been incarcerated since 11/03/01, and reason being, I was convicted of a murder of a white woman and given a living death sentence for a homicide I did not participate in, but was still convicted on 4/22/05 under a joint venture doctrine because I'd seen a crime happen and didn't report it. But this doesn't happen in rich communities. It takes place in poor communities and uneducated black and Latin communities. Now, I know you're under assumption that racial justice doesn't exist. It had been before I was born. And to this day, black and Latinos and Asians are at a 90% higher rate of getting joint venture living death sentences when their counterparts in the rich communities, and that is more than their counterparts in the rich communities. That is there because we don't have Karen Reed money for attorneys who really do their job. Now, these joint venture murder cases take 6 people, 1 or 2 weapons, that only two weapons used or 1 weapon used. Doesn't make any sense that many is convicted all the same crime and no crime that led to the murder. And that this law was abolished by the same people who implemented it in the European countries in the 1800s because it was illegal, and they abolished it because it was illegal, and it was cruel and punishment in a humane manner. I ask that all of you out there listening to this vote and go to your constituent senators' offices and vote on abolishing these acts of joint venture and life without parole, and make it so everybody has a chance of seeing parole, and that these joint venture people that are in prison for not committing a crime be released from prison or given a set sentence where they can get out of prison. Because we're not asking for the door to open for the joint venture and for us just to walk out. We're asking for a sentence that fits what we did if we did anything. But some of us didn't do nothing at all, should be released. Now, for my example, on 11/03/01, a crime happened. A woman was brutally murdered by cowards. I may happen to see this thing happen, but I didn't report it. So I was given a living death sentence because I had to report that. And there was something going on inside a crime lab where Sudbury Crime Lab was under investigation throughout the decades from the time I was arrested and before. They've been suspect. Police have been suspect. District Attorney's Office has been suspect in other cases where people have overturned their cases. I can give you an example of one where to let you know what I know what I'm talking about. Sean Ellis, he was convicted of something. He didn't even do it. It was cops that did it. But he was convicted of it and spent almost 25 to 27 years, and actually longer than that, 34 years in prison for something he didn't do. So I'm having the same problem. For the fact that this time, a white defendant said I did it because I was black, and he thought it would help him to say that a black man killed a white woman, and that it would help him, because he also remembered that Charles Stewart situation where a black man was being accosted and abused by white cops because a white woman was killed, and it was said that a black man did it when actually it was Charles Stewart who killed his wife, and he was a coward for doing that. So now I'm going through the same thing again. So I ask you people one more time that are out there sitting in your houses, in your offices, listen to this, even if it's in the state house and you're listening to this, that you really sit there and think. That man has been in jail 24 years. He's 51 years old. He's subject to die in prison if these laws don't change over something he had no part in. That's what I want y'all to think for Harold Parker, who's sitting in Shirley Medium, WA5390, for nothing but being at a crime scene. Not helping, not giving no weapons to anybody. And all the DA's witnesses said I did not participate in the crime and they didn't know where I was at. So I thank you for your time out there. And I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, who's a white woman, and my daughter and my son, who's half white and half black Latinos.
Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Parker.
Ted.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Mr. Parker. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.